Oh no, you should be able to see it in the party chat. God damn it, I keep forgetting you're on PC. Or yeah, on the Xbox party, Xbox app party should be good. If you want to say, I keep. Alright, I'm about to post it on Twitter, and I will. God damn. Shit. Like, do you see the? I can hear myself. What the hell? I gotta learn how to do this shit through Discord. Okay, are you going through the Xbox app? Shit. You still there? All right, how about now? Is it working? Yeah. Can you hear me? No, I can't hear you in the party. All right. All right. What the fuck? I can hear you in game. I just can't hear you in party.
This one too. This one. Yeah, there we
All
go.
right. Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right, and it should be set to include Twitch. Yep, I can hear it in the additional as well. I can hear it on the stream.
You
Feel
can hear
free.
yourself.
Yeah, I can hear myself on the secondary stream. Additional as well. I can hear it on. Yeah, please. Yeah, I can hear myself on
It's
the
like,
secondary stream. Yep.
all right, just turn the volume down. That way we're not hearing like back. What the hell they call it, back audio or?
Yeah, I have it in the background, making sure the stream's stable, but I've got it all the way down to zero, just making sure my voice can be heard. Everything should be running stable. I've got all the additional open, and we should be good to go.
All right. Still won't double check. Fucking. All right, we got. Chat says they hear you now, so that works.
Perfect. All right.
So, I'm gonna do a quick introduction. Folks, welcome to episode 5. I know we kind of pushed this back 2 days, but third time's a charm. Um, Again, pardon the delays, but I forgot how pain in the ass armor mods are, so we got all that shit taken care of. And now we're here with, I hate to say this, Captain Azrael, right?
Yes, Captain currently.
Okay, for some reason I thought it was Lieutenant Colonel or whatever.
No, those are just old updates. Captain currently.
So, pretty much back from the dead. It was just, I'm going to start out like that. I know last time we talked about the unit, you guys were going through a situation where I assume now former member of your unit was, uh, I guess something happened. They didn't like what was going on, or they just got bored.
Yeah, so the whole
And to end up, what happened there?
Yeah, so here you can follow me. I'm just going to go over here towards the flags. So ultimately, between myself and the prior First Sergeant Doc House, he was put into the position to lead over a majority of the NCOIC as well as the NCO Corps and starting up that, meaning he had deep connections within. There was a lot of fraternization going on within the lower ranks of the enlisted that was not sought out by the top down command, and it led to the capitulation of the initial setup of the unit, specifically 140th Cav, 1st Squadron 40th Cavalry Regiment, which was the first battalion that was started in the 11th Airborne Division's name, with him having pulled all of the NCOs and majority of the enlisted out of the unit to form Task Force Timberwolf. There have been reports on his end that it was not disrespectful and he's kept people from slandering my name, but I've also had reports from other people saying that he has slandered my name. Granted, the reports of him slandering my name are in much less volume than the ones of him saying that he is not. So I don't know which to believe. Ultimately, I've just decided to cut contact with him. I think it's for the best. I wish him very well with his unit in Task Force Timberwolf, but we've rebuilt the 11th Airborne and we've got a lot more personnel and a lot more opportunities to grow. But yeah, initially, First Sergeant Doc House took the majority of the members and reformed into Task Force Timberwolf with the majority of the initial command of the 11th Airborne Division. And we reform under a new banner, starting up 2 battalion names with 4 companies and company leadership personnel.
All right. Now, let me go back to the beginning when you first originally started uh, the 11th Airborne. What made you choose this particular unit?
Currently, I'm active duty in the 11th Airborne Division, so I have a real close
So it's
tie
kind
to
of
it.
like unit pride.
Yeah, a lot of unit pride coming to the 11th Airborne Division. I know that in real life, the 11th Airborne Division is not the best of airborne units out there, but being that it's a
If I'm
game,
not,
I figured we can bring a lot of the good from what's in the unit here to the game, and then get rid of a lot of the bad.
if I'm not mistaken, the 11th Airborne was a quite famous unit. If I'm not, again, correct me if I'm wrong, from World War II, and I'm not sure when they were actually stood down.
Yes, so the 11th Airborne Division's history ties all the way back to World War II when it was initially started, I believe, in 1943. I had the date memorized, but I since forgotten the exact timeline. But I believe it was in 1943 that the 11th Airborne was started to watch over the Pacific Theater, which it still does to this day upon being restarted. The 11th Airborne brought together the best of the best in terms of airborne and quality. When it was initially started, the 11th Airborne had every personnel who was not only physically fit, but mentally fit to be an officer, even at the enlisted level. So it was the best of the best. They led battles across the entire Pacific, the most notable battle being the Battle of Leyte and Luzon. There's a lot of different history that goes into the Airborne Division, and I've learned a lot of it about how they moved down through a lot of the different concentration camps and camps of the Philippine areas that were under control by the Japanese during World War II. I would have to do another deep dive back into the 11th Airborne history because it does tend to slip my mind, but the new modern 11th Airborne Division takes a different turn in history, still focusing on the Pacific Theater, but of course there are new threats than there were in 1943.
Right, we got more. Let's say politely wise, because I know some, I don't know, things people might take what I say out of context, but we got folks or other countries trying to poke the eagle's nest. I guess is the correct term. I don't want to say poke the bear. That would be like saying someone's trying to fuck with Russia. But
Yeah.
not too many. I actually know not too many people know about there actually were some airborne operations, although not a lot in World War II. Mainly some of them around the Philippine Islands.
Yeah, the airborne
Um,
operations that the 11th Airborne conducted, in real life were very important to the cause of World War II, especially down in the theater, on the Pacific Theater. They didn't, 11th Airborne didn't do any combat in the European theater, to my knowledge. It was all led by the 82nd Airborne Division, and they were assaulted down through on D-Day and events before. But the 11th Airborne also made really good progress on the Pacific Theater and really spearheaded a lot of different assaults onto different land masses.
Now, when it comes to the unit, like after the situation with Doc, the former first sergeant, um, I know not too long after that happened, it kind of had you went into a little rebuild stage. Like, can you walk this through? Like, what happened? Like who helped you out?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, following First Sergeant Doc taking a majority of the members and forming a task force Timberwolf, I was left in a low point. I did not want to continue leading Armor Reforge and Milsims. I was at a point where I kind of wanted to take a break and move on to other games that I've led Milsims on, like Space Engineers. So I actually ended up deleting Discord for about 3 to 4 days, taking a break, focusing more on real life. I'd gotten a girlfriend around that time, and I tried to more focus inwards on myself. But upon downloading Discord again, I received a bunch of messages from multiple different people who wanted to remain in contact. Following that 4 day of just peacefulness and relaxation, we came back, we convened together. The big, most notable names were Content Tie, Prior 75th, another notable name, Rikage, last known as Prophethood, also 75th. Founder Drew, another member of 75th in the past, and those were the main three that helped rebuild. There have been a lot of other notable names, but they weren't there upon the initial rebuild period. But they have contributed a lot in the most recent experience of getting the unit back up and online. But most notably, it does fall into those three. Founder Drew brought in some NCOs and some real life officer experience to the table that really helped benefit the unit and get it back up on its feet. Content Ty brought in the medical side, being that he was also medical in the 75th. He wanted to improve upon the medical and the realism that comes from the game itself that you can bring to the table. And he put it all together into his own medical unit that I allowed him to create, specialized. Specifically, it's known as 725 Brigade Support Battalion. Is currently his battalion that he leads with Atlas Company, which is our medical company, and then Out Company, which is led by Terminator, who is the logistics and maintenance OIC. Rikage is currently the XO of the entire unit itself, the entire name and brigade, but he is also currently the company commander of Apache Company, which is our infantry company, which is online and operational. He's been a captain and he stayed in his position, loyal to the 11th Airborne and to our cause since the beginning. And since he joined in, he earned the rank and he has not lost it. He shows tremendous courage and the ability to continue to move through harsh environments really strategically. And I think he's more than deserving of his position. So I gave him command of the infantry company, and I decided to move on to a more staff role and setting up the future of not only the first battalion 501st parachute infantry regiment, but also the entire division itself, while also prepping for further expansion.
Right. All right. Now, going forward, like, what can, uh, let's say, someone from the watching this on YouTube, whether it be tonight or somewhere down the line, and they're interested in joining, like, they're looking for a Milsim, right? They got Armor Forger, they know little to no nothing about it, but they really want to just move up from like whether it be like move on from like Roblox Milsim, because I know apparently from what Drew said that was a huge thing. I knew it was a thing. I didn't know how big it got. And it's just fucking mind boggling.
Yeah, the Roblox middle community is
I
quite
can't
massive.
I can't take that serious. I mean, I want to take it serious, but just hear someone yell "oof" when they die. It's kind of it's gonna make me chuckle.
Yeah, I looked in how deep Roblox got. I didn't realize that they were even deeper than Armory Forger in terms of realism. They have even the assets that are unmatched. Like we actually ended up pulling assets from prior Roblox Milsims and we're modding them into Armory Forger, such as the HEMETs, the LHSs, the LMTVs, and everything like that. They go hard. They go really hard in Roblox.
I mean,
It's
shit,
hard to believe.
we should take the damn that sling load mod because apparently that the mod that's currently in game now for the Chinook is constantly broken and no one's able to use it. So like everyone, like if you have a Chinook pilot and you're supposed to sling load a say MRAP or not MRAP but a Humvee or I don't even know what the real life Chinook can carry a Bradley underneath it, but
Definitely not too heavy
usually
of an
what
armor piece.
that's what I was thinking. It's like you just what I seen happen was like people the pilot will hover over it saying hook up, then you just fly over and some GM will just teleport the Humvee or Bradley over to that location. But
Yeah.
I mean, shit, if it works, fuck it. Well, someone from the Armor Reforger community should be taking that shit and modifying it to where it can work.
We are.
I mean,
So Terminator is a primary modder. He does a lot of modding. He creates maps, he creates mods, he creates packages. He does a lot in terms of the Armory Forged community. He pulled a lot of the assets from the Roblox community the founders set up with and is prepping to create mods on the Armory Forger side so that we can actually get modern vehicles and equipment on our end so we can begin preparing, Reforger for the future.
I've got a question in the chat from Captain Justice. He wants to know if you mentioned the aviation battalion.
No, actually, I have not mentioned that yet. We haven't gone into the structure. The question itself just hasn't been brought up yet. But if we just want to cover that quickly, currently in the structure for the 11th Airborne Division's setup right now, we have 3 battalions active. Each battalion is only going to have 2 companies, depending on the MOSs that are needed for those specific battalions. So right now we have one 501st PIR, 725 BSB, and then 152nd GSBA. General Sport Aviation Battalion is the thing, so I may have mispronounced the acronym for it. But 2 companies, we've got 2 infantry companies, 1 medical, 1 logistic maintenance, and then 2 aviation companies.
Now, what would there? Actually, I've already seen the answer for that question I'm about to ask. But the main bird is the that they fly is the MH-60 Blackhawk, correct?
Yeah, so the 152nd General Sport Aviation Battalion primarily focuses on the Blackhawk in real life, which is what we try to focus on. However, we have also included the Chinook, which is also their secondary vehicle to that battalion, into the game, as the Chinook is the primary one that we use for our airborne operations that we set up and move forward into.
Is there any attack aircraft like Apaches or Lowbirds, or is that
No,
something that you guys are working on?
that will have to be a separate battalion if we want to continue focusing on the real life aspect. The 152nd General Support is only MH60s, or no, sorry, HA60. I forget the UH60s. That's the one I'm thinking of. The UH60 Blackhawks and the
They got so many
CH47
damn
Chinooks.
acronyms for them. They should just
Yeah,
stay with one. Like it's just UH-60 across the board, regardless of branch.
yeah. So the UH60 and the CH47 are the ones for the 152nd General Sport Aviation Battalion. But we also have the 125th Attack Reconnaissance Battalion, I believe is the proper name, or Aviation Attack Battalion, and that focuses only on Apaches.
Nice. Now, what would you say to someone that's looking to join La Milsa? Like if they're say they're looking for say either join uh for argument's sake the 11th. Like what are you guys looking for when it comes to bringing in new recruits?
Currently, we don't have we have limitations on who we can accept as recruits. Like age limitations. Currently, we only accept 17 and up. We don't want to bring any younger kids into this environment. The 11th Airborne Division, we want to make a community at home, but we also want to make this as realistic as possible. The unit's changed from its initial setup where we wanted to be a community for all, teaching people about Milsim. We still want to teach people about what the military is and how the military operates in real life and everything that needs to be done in order to accomplish that goal. However, realizing from our past mistakes of fraternization and things like that, we realize we can't have a whole community all in one, because when fraternization comes down to the lower enlisted, lower ranks, it ends up completely causing capitulation when people disagree with one rule. Everyone comes under the same agreement and they all leave under one distress without being able to properly manage the issues that come with it and then move forward towards a better, brighter future. So we've tried to break the fraternization between the lower enlisted to the higher ranks. We've made it to where you cannot communicate directly through. I continue to have an open door policy. However, you have to go through the CFC in order to contact me. It's not straight open door. You can contact me outright. So we've set up a lot of different systems in order to prepare for it. But bringing someone in, you have to be 17 plus. We have different programs. We partnered with the 10th Mountain Division, who is another light infantry unit, and we work very closely with them and their recruitment style. So we continue to recruit and make sure that they are knowledgeable enough to come into the unit. If you're fire military, you get propped into the unit and the MOS that is available specific to you. And then if you're not, you go through, of course, basic combat training. Once completed your basic combat training, you go to advanced individual training, depending on your MOS. Or if you're an 11 Bravo, you will go through OSIT. If 12 Bravo, you also go through OSIT. And you go through complete the training that you need for your MOS and specific training along those lines, and move forward into going to your unit. And basic combat training, OSINT, AIT, it's literally the bare minimum you need to accomplish your MOS, because you are going to learn more at your unit than you do at training at all times. And that's something that all of the veterans agree on within the unit, as we have quite a few officers enlisted and NCOs within who are IRL.
Right. Going forward to like say from here on, like what uh, what plans do you have for the 11th moving forward? Like, do you see you guys expanding, become bigger than what you already are?
Absolutely. The plan of expansion is always on the tip of the tongue, and it's just, actually executing that to get up to that stage. It's always been a problem for every unit, coming down from the ground. We see with the 82nd and the 75th Ranger Regiment, they were able to properly execute, implement ways to get a massive amount of numbers, because we already see that the 82nd Airborne is about to reach 3,000 members, and 75th Ranger Regiment, I believe, is approaching 5 to 7 on the numbers from previous. But we see these massive units and we know it's achievable. You just have to put in the work, the effort, the knowledge, and the requirements to get people involved and get to that level. Ultimately, our division asset is going to consist of 3 brigades for aviation, and then 2 infantry brigade combat teams. We've got the battalions laid out. We already know what battalions we're going to build, what companies in those battalions, what the company names are, and the platoon names underneath them. We've laid down the foundation for what we need to do in order to progress. But ultimately, right now, we are building the 2nd Infantry Brigade combat team with under the 11th Airborne Division, specifically for the Airborne section. IRL, we focus very heavily on. So currently, the 2nd Brigade is the Airborne section of the 11th Airborne Division, whereas 1st Brigade is an air assault brigade. But we are making sure that we bring in as much realism to the game as possible. Currently, we have the 151st PIR, which is our infantry battalion, and then of course we've got 75 BSB, being medical logistics mechanics. After that, we're planning on opening up to 377th PFAR, which is our parachute field artillery regiment battalion. That is going to be, once the new update drops, we figured that better mods are going to come out for targeting systems for mortars, artillery, and things like that. And that's when we'll begin opening up those MOSs. Following to 377th PFAR, we're going to open up 6th BEB, the 6th Brigade Engineer Battalion, which is soon to become the 6th Brigade, 6th Division Engineer Battalion, following under real life as well. And we're going to continue moving forward and continuing with growth. We do try to go for quality over quantity. However, we want to bring in as many people as possible so we can get them understanding on the game's mechanics as well as how we operate. We really want to bring the knowledge that comes with the tier 3 unit to the table. SF, not any conventional unit, and we try to bring that knowledge to the table for everyone in the game.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of lost you there for a second. But couple questions actually. Now, we know Armor of Fortune recently came out for the PlayStation side of the folks who play PlayStation do, or at least try to do, Milsim. Is there a plan for the 11th Airborne to incorporate folks who play PlayStation, even though they don't exactly have, they're not able to have mods. Not clear just yet when they will. Some folks are saying it's gonna be March. Some say summer, sometime summer, and others are saying fall. No one's really, as far as I know, no one's able to uh, hit the nail on the head of when exactly they're going to get the mods. So like, if you had like an influx of folks from PlayStation reach out to you guys saying, "Hey, we would like to join," what would be your approach to that?
We're very open to the idea. We actually have already started recruiting NPS5 players. It's not been our biggest focus. We've been trying to focus on getting out of courses in schools, but we have started accepting in PS5 players. Currently, as it stands, we're only accepting in 11 Bravos for PS5. We understand that there needs to be logistics, maintenance, medics for all different areas, whether you're vanilla or in the mod section. Uh, we're just trying to get them in the best way possible, and 11 Bravo is the best way we can get them in. Anyone who comes into the PS5 who wants to be that 11 Bravo, the 11 Bang Bang, we're going to send them over to Hatchet Company, which is being spearheaded by myself as well as First Lieutenant O'Boards. We're trying to get in people to these positions and try to build up the NCO core. We've got a lot of officers, we've got a lot of OICs, which is not ideal for building up the unit, but we definitely want to get in as many people as possible. So anyone who wants to come from the PS5 section, we're going to happily take, we're going to get them acquainted in what we have. We just got to be able to find the way to get up more servers to be able to start progressing and moving forward. But with our partners and our allies, we're actually planning on getting set up accordingly so that we can begin not only recruiting more people, but setting up more courses for everyone involved, because we generally want to see the community of Armory Forger grow beyond what it currently is right now and remove a majority of the toxicity that comes from outside sources.
All right, follow up question. It's kind of this one's kind of a two-parter. Now we all know, like we know, there's EU and I guess you say like Anzac players. I was gonna call them AU, but Anzac seems more fitting for them. Now, I assume you already have some EU, maybe Anzac players. Like, what is your like? If you recruit them, like, what's your plan for them? Like, are they only limited to an MOS, or is there more options for them?
No one's limited to an MOS or position just based on where you live. You don't get to choose. Well, you get to choose where you live, but in certain circumstances, you don't get to choose. I'm not gonna hatch anybody out for where they choose to live, where they were born, or anything like that on their position or what they can do. Ultimately, they can
Check.
pick any position and go into any company, but we understand that there's going to be limitations on their availability to play. So we just have to let them know before they enter into our unit. It may not be ideal for them. We're willing to make some accommodations, but if you're not able to join us in any capacity of the game, we will have to remove said people from the unit. And it's not in any hardship or problems that we have with the person. It's just because we're unable to accommodate their time and make the game fun and enjoyable for them. Whereas we have a majority of other people in a different time zone who we can still accommodate to, but we can't accommodate to
That
theirs. So it's kind of just working
would
with them.
would it be possible to create a unit within the 11th Airborne that's mainly like the OICs? You have like a unit that what it, I'm trying to think of an example. Say an EU ran unit in the 11th Airborne or Anzac unit in the 11th Airborne, to where like, hey, we got these trains lined up for you guys. Uh, just make sure you guys are hitting it, or something along that lines. It's like any possible plans for that.
It may be in the future. It's not currently in the playing cards right now. That's something that might be down the line in the future once we get organized and set up. Ultimately, we have to build, the core foundation of what we have, and the majority of the people that play Voyager are within the United States or within the Central Eastern Standard Time zones. We do want to open up to everybody and give everybody an opportunity to come play with us and in the environment that we have. It's not in the cards right now, as I've already stated, but it may be in the future. It's mostly just focusing on the fundamentals and the core values of what the unit is and what we, before we progress forward out into that area of operations. It's just going to take some time planning, prepping, because we don't like to throw something out into the blue immediately. We want to have a little bit more time to talk about it and figure out what needs to be done in order to accomplish this goal in the future or within the coming weeks to months.
Pretty much like iron everything out before we add something else.
Exactly. We don't want to rush into it, cause problems for anyone within the community. We want this to be an enjoyable experience for anyone who comes in. I've always said it in the past, I care about the people more than I care about the unit name, and that's true even now. But we still want to progress to make this unit enjoyable for all, and we want to build the core fundamentals.
All right. Is there any works? You may have already mentioned this. I may have overheard it or overlooked it. Um, is there any mechanized infantry attached to you guys?
No mechanized infantry, no armor. We are strictly a
Strictly
light
airborne.
infantry. Yeah, strictly light infantry, strictly airborne air assault.
Now, uh, when it comes to like building back up the 11th Airborne, what was your overall feeling like when everything started getting put back together?
Hmm. Here, give me one moment. I have to take meds and I'll answer the question.
Take your time.
Sorry, repeat the question.
When it came to like starting to rebuild the 11th Airborne, like we had Drew, Raikage, and forgot the other guy you mentioned.
Content
Like
type.
start coming in, yeah, start like coming in. Drew bringing some guys in, like start helping out rebuild the 11th Airborne. Like,
What
what
were
was
the
your
core
overall
values?
feeling? No, no, like what was your overall feeling? Like nostalgic or like
It
we see
was
like sense of pride that everything was like that you helped like you originally started was starting to come like be rebuilt.
I will say following the collapse, I lost a lot of pride within myself. I believe that, my inability to lead the people who were initially there within the 11th Airborne who had left it made me believe that I may not have been the leader that I bring myself up to be. Um, Maybe I am able to be a better leader now and I can improve upon the experiences that I have. I understand that I may have had some problems in the past in that first initial bring up of the 11th Airborne, but seeing the amount of people who, even after the collapse, still wanted to follow under the leadership and guidance that I had really brought back up the pride that I had for the unit and what I was able to do to an all-time high to where I thought I could still continue to lead the unit. I have a lot of pride for the 11th Airborne and the name that I've created here. Everyone said from the old 11th Airborne that we're the fake 11th Airborne, or that, we had our issues with the 7th, 5th, or there are issues in the past and things like that. But seeing that there are still people who want to lead under me and want to follow under the leadership and guidance that I have really brings my pride up and it brings my morale up overall. And it shows me that I may not be in a bad leadership position myself, and I have a lot that I can still show people and teach people about the game, the airborne community as a whole. Because even following the initial collapse, I even had allies reach out to me saying not to get my head down because some of our courses were the best courses that they've been in, or like the most fun courses that they've had, or even operations. So I realized that I shouldn't keep my head down over just the simple first collapse. We all have our hardships in building up the unit. And now that I've gotten my experience on the things I should and shouldn't do, we're able to build back from the issue. And I'm ready to go ahead and lead the soldiers underneath me into a better, brighter future. And we can go ahead and continue to improve the game overall.
Now, you mentioned allies a little bit ago. Uh, were there like were your allies also like involved in helping build back the 11th Airborne back up?
Oh, absolutely. I want to say the most notable name in terms of that is the 10th Mountain Division. They have been a core piece in our rebuilding, and they have done nothing but helpful towards getting us back on our feet. We worked really closely with the 10th Mountain before the collapse, and now even after the collapse and bringing into the future, they have continued to work constantly by our side. And I will say they are the best ally that we've had across the board. And that's not to say that the other allies that we have aren't great as well. You know, we love 2nd Infantry Division, the 82nd Airborne, and even 3rd Marine Battalion, Marine Raider Battalion before they collapsed. But the 10th Mountain Division has contributed so much more than we could have ever asked that it's hard to compare any other allies to what they have done for us.
Surprisingly, actually, when you mentioned the Third Marine Raider Battalion, the a lot of the guys that ended up leaving, we just did the story on them. Uh, I believe this last night or the night before. We actually reached out to DXO and we talked to him for a little bit. And if everything goes well, we're actually looking to have them as our guests for episode 6.
Oh, okay. Very, very nice. You know, it's always good to get experiences from different Milsim leaders, especially Marine units. I myself, want to see the entire Armory Forger community come to, an upbringing and get all the knowledge. Even though we are an Army unit, I'd love to see a Marine unit get into the thousands of players like the Army units have. I think Marines bring a lot to the table. It may not be my cup of tea, but it is a lot of people's. And, having that knowledge and experience would be just amazing to
Eh,
have. I want to see just these thousands of player units dominate the Reforger scene, and I think that would just be really cool and beneficial to the entire scene of Reforger. Having a United States Army similar to how Roblox has it, which is a weird comparison to make, but it's a true comparison, I think would really bring up the community of Reforger.
yeah, those folks have over 1 million people in that crew. That's Jesus.
Yep, 1.2 billion.
God. But surprisingly, when it came over to um, Armor Forger, like coming over from Battlefield, where like Battlefield Milsim was primarily at the time was like you would have a lot of Marine units. Well, you also have like a good number of your Army units, but it seems like the Marine units were always like there were more Marines for Marine units than Army. It's like coming here is like it's flipped on its head. There are
It,
more Army units than are Marine units.
it all depends on the game. Really, Reforger being that has so much logistics and so many different things you have to worry about, Army really shines here. And that's not to say that Marines don't. Marines also work in the same capacity that Army does, or at least a similar capacity. It's just that within the Battlefield community, I feel like there was a lot of misread steps, being that it's all just constant combat. Bringing in Marine Raiders to the Battlefield community was the primary goal because you just have to run and gun and kill the enemies. Whereas here, you've got logistics, medical, and the large recon that you have to conduct in order to properly execute an operation. Army units are just built to thrive here because of what you can bring to the table. Like I said, Marine units have their own aspects of that they can bring to the table, but it's not really latched on as well as the Army has. Whereas Battlefield's more latched on to the Marines' ability to just be rough and tough and tear through shit like there's no tomorrow.
Not to mention a lot of the maps on Battlefield happen to be your islands or coastal.
Exactly. So it really ties into the marine capabilities and marine heritage and the ability to be amphibious, whereas Army is really landlocked in their capabilities.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised. Like I know there are a lot of console players. Like some, a lot of them, I assume, are Series X. X. And I know there's like we're mixing with the PC folks. The mods, some of them like make or break, uh, like operations or morale ops, whatever, like deployments. But wouldn't it kill to see someone make a LHD mod where you got like the well duck open and it's got say not a LCAC because that in and of itself would just fuck everything up. Like fucking the Chinook when they first dropped it. But like have like strikers. Like I know if I'm not mistaken, some of the striker mods have the ability to go in the water for a good bit. It's like I wouldn't mind seeing some of that.
We might see
give
that in the
more
next
options.
update. We might see that in the next update. Being that the newest thing that's coming to the game is going to be that vehicle that is amphibious, we might see a lot more marine armored units start popping up. Even though a lot of armor has been removed from the Marines IRL in recent years, it's only been really recent that that's happened. So we might see a lot of the
They
early
still,
2000s Marine units start coming up with armor. Being that the newest mod is going to improve on amphibious landings with armored vehicles, we might see a lot more of that start coming into play. And it could be
I
really
wouldn't mind
cool to
seeing
see that
LS
into the
like
unit.
what do you call not the LSTs, those landing crafts that you'll see like in the back of LHDs or LHAs.
Yeah,
But
it all depends on the coders that we have within the game and what we can do overall. It's not my cup of tea or my area of expertise to go over that specific information, but maybe someone else within the community would better answer your questions within the different mods that we have in the modding community. But right now, it's just not something I can talk on, only because I have limited experience in the modding section of Armory Forger.
all right, um, so last question is getting kind of late here. Uh, what do you look forward to now that the 11th is like back on his feet and moving forward?
Right now, number one thing for the 11th Airborne is get the numbers and build the courses. We want to offer all of the courses that are within the United States Army and as much realism as possible. We want to be the top tier conventional unit with the best courses that Armory Forger has to offer in terms of Army. We want to bring in the most realistic iBullock, OCS, CCC, AWC, PLC, all of that leadership school. We want to bring the most realistic and best improving into the game. Instead of it just being you're going in and you're getting the basic bare needs, we want to make it to where when you go through this course, you actually learn something and you come out being the best of the best. So, the more people we get in, the better quality that we can push out, the better that we think we can improve this game and units all across the board.
All right. Well, Captain, that about does it for me today. Again, appreciate the time given. I know we said around 20:30 CST, which would be about 5:30 your time. Uh, this we could actually probably get this stream back up on YouTube sometime tonight. So once I do that, I will make sure to send you a link. And I'll be honest, I actually had fun kind of teasing this episode
Yeah,
because
I
like
love to.
yeah, to my knowledge, I wasn't sure like how many people knew. So like it's like okay, we could probably play a little tease folks with this. Like I'm pretty sure some of the folks who are watching the stream right now, seen the post that we made. Uh, like at first it was the graveyard, then we had like the shovel hitting the right next to the tombstone, and then in the coffin opening. Because a
Okay.
lot of folks, like when the first collapse happened, a lot of folks thought the unit was pretty much dead and over. But to see a complete turnaround and actually like for what I see and from what you described, the unit seems to actually be doing more better than what it was before.
Yeah, yeah. We I love seeing how Milsim News is able to just really captivate the entire Milsim community, from Milsim News Network community, from NATO and Milsim units. I love to see how many people get involved and how much drama can be brought in. It's not to say that I like to see the drama, but I like to see the drama. But
Well, we did kind of call it was going to be an interesting week.
yeah, to end on it, I will say the 11th Airborne Division currently is doing much better than where we were, even with the people who had left initially. Not to say I still don't like those people. A lot of those people were my friends, even after following it. I may consider them friends, but I don't consider them as close as we were. But the 11th Airborne Division, its future is a lot brighter with them gone.
All right. And with that, folks, if you're just now joining us and catching the ass end of this stream, pardon the French, uh, we will just head over to our Twitter and make sure to follow us, and we will make a post when the video is on YouTube. Again, Captain, thank you for your time, and we look to see you in the next one.
Sounds good. I wish you and Milsim News Network, as well as Milsim units and NATO, farewell and have a great evening.